Have you ever wondered why humans can't drink seawater? After all, it's just water, right? Why isn't it safe to drink, and what happens to your body if you do? Hello, curious minds. Picture this. You are stranded in the middle of the ocean. The sun is blazing down, and you are parched. Water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink. It's one of those terrifying scenarios where you are surrounded by water, but none of it will quench your thirst. But today, we are diving deep into the science behind why humans can't drink seawater, what happens when we try, and what to do if you ever find yourself stranded at sea without fresh water. Spoiler: drinking seawater is one of the worst things you can do. Let's find out why. So, what is in seawater anyway? First things first, what makes seawater different from the fresh water that we drink? Seawater contains about 3.5% salt, which doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it is. That means for every liter of seawater, there are about 35 grams of dissolved salts, mostly sodium chloride, the same kind of salt we put in our fries. This is way more salt than your body can handle, and here's why. Your body, like any other living thing, relies on a delicate balance of water and salts to function properly. When you drink fresh water, it helps your body maintain this balance, hydrating your cells and allowing your organs to work efficiently. Seawater, however, has so much salt that it throws this balance completely out of whack. So, let's say you drink a gulp of seawater because you are desperate and thirsty. What happens next? When you ingest seawater, the high salt content enters your bloodstream, and that's where things go wrong. Your body's cells need a certain amount of water to function, but the concentration of salt in seawater is higher than that in your body's cells. This creates an osmotic imbalance. To balance out the salt levels, your cells will actually lose water instead of absorbing it, causing them to dehydrate. In an effort to get rid of the excess salt, your kidneys kick into overdrive. Here's the kicker: your kidneys can only remove a certain amount of salt from your body at a time, and to process that much salt, they require more fresh water than you drank. Since seawater dehydrates you further, it makes the situation worse, and you will end up more dehydrated than before. Essentially, drinking seawater is a losing game. You are taking in more salt than your body can handle, and it only speeds up dehydration. Drinking seawater may temporarily quench your thirst, but it's a trap. As the salt overloads your body, you will start experiencing a variety of nasty symptoms, including extreme thirst, and your body will crave more water to counteract the salt. Dry mouth, because despite drinking, the high salt content will dry out your tissue. Nausea and vomiting. Your body will reject the high levels of salt, causing vomiting. You may also experience diarrhea, because this is another way your body tries to expel the excess salt. And muscle cramps. As dehydration worsens, your muscles may cramp from lack of water. Also, you may experience confusion and hallucinations, because severe dehydration affects brain function, leading to confusion or even hallucinations. If untreated, the dehydration caused by drinking seawater can lead to organ failure and eventually death. So, no matter how tempting it may seem, seawater is never the solution when you are thirsty. Now that we have established why drinking seawater is a terrible idea, what should you do if you're stranded at sea and don't have access to fresh water? Here are a few life-saving tips. The best solution is to desalinate the seawater, that is, to remove the salt from it. Large-scale desalination plants use complex processes to produce fresh water, but in a survival situation, there are some simpler methods. One way is to use solar desalination. If you have a clear plastic sheet, you can create a solar still. Here's how it works. Dig a shallow hole in the sand, place a container in the center to collect water, and cover the hole with a plastic sheet. Wait out in the middle of the sheet so that condensation drips into the container. Over time, the sun's heat will evaporate the seawater, and condensation, which is fresh water, will collect in the container. If you are lucky enough to get rain while stranded, collect as much as possible. Rainwater is fresh and safe to drink, making it a life-saving resource. Use any container or even your clothing to catch and store it. Believe it or not, fish can be a source of hydration. You can actually get drinkable fluids by squeezing water from the flesh of freshly caught fish. While it's not a perfect solution, it may provide enough liquid to help you stay hydrated until you find fresh water. At the same time, if you are stranded with food supplies but no water, avoid eating salty or dry foods as they will increase your body's demand for water. Try to conserve your body's water as much as possible. Now, you might be wondering, if seawater is so bad for us, how do some animals like seabirds and marine mammals survive on it? The answer is simple. They are specially adapted for it. Seabirds, like seagulls and albatrosses, have specialized salt glands located near their eyes. These glands filter out excess salt from their blood and expel it through their nostrils. That's why you sometimes see seabirds with droplets of salty water on their beaks. They're excreting the salt. Marine mammals like whales and seals get the majority of their water from the food they eat, like fish, which contains enough water to keep them hydrated. These animals don't drink seawater directly, but rely on specialized kidneys to process small amounts of salt they do ingest from their food. So there you have it. The reason humans can't drink seawater is that it dehydrates us even more. Our bodies simply aren't designed to handle such levels of salt, and drinking seawater will only make things worse. That's it for today's episode of Midnight Question. I hope you found this deep dive into seawater and survival both enlightening and a little bit salty. If you have more curious questions keeping you up at night, drop them in the comments, and who knows, we might explore your midnight musings next time. Until then, stay curious and stick to fresh water. I am Mari, and this is Midnight Question.